Hey guys, we're glad you're here. This is Stan Malden. We're going to have a great time together. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. Let's go ahead and get started. Gershom, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Stan.
So, do you know any good jokes?
Um, I'm JM has a lot of jokes.
Put you on the spot, didn't I? You weren't
Yeah.
ready for that. All right, well, let's get going. Eddie
Okay.
Williamson, you're on the line, and you're going to talk to me first before we get going, all right? So, Eddie, I'm unmuting you now, and Eddie's going to say hello. Eddie, come on, Eddie. How come my unmute doesn't work here, Gershom? Oh, Judy's on the line, too. You guys, there's a lot of good people on the line today. Well, let's just get after it. Eddie, I'm going to unmute you in a little while. I'm going to ask you what you're doing on here and how come you're not working. Okay? I'm just going to give you some grief. Hey, what we did this weekend is we had some people fly into Houston and do some deals this weekend, and it was a really great time and a really fun time for everybody. So let's just tell you what we did. The apprentice group, there we go. The apprentice group came in, and we invited whoever wanted to come in from the apprentice group to come in, and we'll show them how to do deals and do kind of a hands-on experience. And it was really a fun time. We had about 18 people here, plus the staff people, so 21 people were here for the weekend. And it turned out to be a really, really wonderful time, and we sold a house. And we've got a couple other deals working right now, and could not be much better. It was a fun time. The people were fun, and we got some deals done. So that was really a great time. Let me just show you what the schedule was and what we did during the weekend, and then we'll be glad to entertain questions as we go. So Gershom, would you watch the question box, and as we go, if you guys have got questions, just type them in, and I'll be glad to answer them as we get going. What Tim has done is basically we're doing a boot camp, well, once every quarter, once every couple of months here. It seems like now, about once every couple of months. And basically that's an opportunity for those apprentice students to come in for the weekend and basically get a group lesson and a private lesson, and on top of that in their business and on how to do these deals. So it was really fun. We had people from Canada, and we had people from California, from Florida. Gosh, it was from everywhere. So it turned out really great. Now the goals in this is that number one is we want to learn from each other, and it was an interesting time that and you'll see the pictures here in a while, as we put some tables out and just had everybody making phone calls, and it had people emailing and those kinds of things, that I asked the question, who feels really comfortable on the phone? And 4 or 5 people raised their hand. And I said, great, you 4 or 5 people are going to do emails. Everybody else is going to get on the phone, because we're going to try to get you more comfortable on your phone. And basically people were just making calls, and as the person next to you was making calls and you heard something that worked, then you incorporated that into what you were doing. So our goal was to learn from each other, and we being Tim and I were kind of sitting in the back, and Tim would all of a sudden pop in and say, well, the issue is that you don't have a transition from tell me about your house to you know, I want to buy your house. And so we worked with some people on that and helped them with those kind of things. And then we also wanted to learn some things that we could take home and use at home. And I think everybody that was here did that and can use everything we did this weekend. Also, we all have strengths, and we all wanted to play on each other's strengths. Now, what I asked them to do this weekend was not play on your strength, but let's work on your weakness. Okay? And so that's a little different attitude than what most people do. Most people do what they do, and they feel comfortable doing it, and so they continue doing it. And the reality of it is, if we could work on our weaknesses, then the strengths are going to take care of themselves, and they'll get better by themselves. Also, as we worked through the weekend, the goal was to help other people to just make that first phone call or just knock on a door. We went out looking on Thursday, and I'll get to the schedule. We went out looking on Thursday at a house that was bought with cash, okay? So we looked at houses that had sold for cash in the last 30 days. And we were standing out there in the street, and there's a lady living in this house, and Tim says to me, he says, Stan, go knock on the door and see if we can go in. And so the students were like, oh my gosh, are you really going to do that? Well, that's how I got started, was knocking on doors. So it was real easy for me. And we just knock, 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 and the lady came to the door and said, hey, we've got 20 people that'd like to see your house. and I know you just moved in 3 days ago. Can we come in? And she says, sure, come on in. And it was a great time. So we inspired each other to do some things and to take some action. Also, we wanted to see the 7-day strategy. That's where we list houses Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, kind of clean everything up on Thursday, and then sell on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we did the 7-day strategy in about 26 hours. So we did 7 days worth of work the first day in about 26 hours, sold our house on Saturday in the first day. We also want to hang out with people that are like us, that have like minds, that enjoy investing, that enjoy life and enjoy having fun, and we did all that. We want to sell some properties, we did that. We want to make some money, we did that. We've seen some people that we haven't seen before. We see you guys on webinars and the calls and everything, but we don't see you in person very often. And it was really nice to see some people in person. And it was really, really great to meet some new people. And we've got a big crowd of people from California, and that's an interesting market as well. So it was wonderful to spend some time eating and then talking about their particular situations in Oakland and San Francisco and some of those other markets. And most of all, and my number one thing is we wanted to have fun. So that was the goals for the weekend, and it turned out pretty good. Let me give you our schedule and what we were doing. We were looking for bread and butter houses. Now, for a bread and butter house in Houston, you have to think about what these are in your particular market. But in Houston, we're looking for owner finance deals because they close really quickly. We're looking in Houston, but we were looking for Katy, Texas, which is just west of town. There's a lot of activity in Katy and Spring, and that's where we were really concentrating. And the house we sold was not in either of those areas. It's kind of funny. When we started the weekend, we were looking for houses between 100 and 140, and as the weekend grew, we ended up having houses between 95 and 110. So that turned out really well. We were looking for 5,000 down. Some of our houses were 7,500 down, some 8,000 down, but our goal was to get 5,000 down, 1,200 a month. And as we started working toward the weekend, most of our houses came in around 1,000 to 1,100 a month. Now, what that did for us is that allowed a certain group of people that could only afford $1,000 per month, and we were looking for $1,200 houses. All of a sudden, there's a whole group of people that could now afford the houses that we had in our portfolio. So the amount of phone calls we got have been unbelievable, and I'll show you these numbers in just a little bit. We're calling, looking for Katy, and we're looking for Spring, but we'll take any house that people want to sell. So we did a short sale this weekend. We did some other wholesale owner financing things this weekend, and it didn't matter that it wasn't an owner financing deal. That was what we were looking for, but we'll take anything. Okay, now who would buy these houses? And we've really spent some time thinking about who's looking at our houses. The people that are looking at the houses in the west part of Houston to the north part of Houston primarily are a Hispanic couple in their mid-30s to lower 40s years of age. They usually have 2 to 4 kids, and most of those kids, of course, they usually have one that's 13 or 14, and then they've got another one that's 3 or 4. That seems to be kind of everybody we're showing right now. So we had an aha moment over the weekend, and if we're attracting Hispanic couples in their mid-30s, then why in the world aren't we doing our bandit signs in Spanish? And we did that this weekend. We kind of mixed them half Spanish, half English, and we doubled our phone calls this weekend. Okay, and then we put our Craig's ads out in Spanish as well, and we also doubled the amount of response we got on Craigslist. So think of that. If you're in one of those markets where you have a Hispanic population, or if you've got a German population, whatever it is, it's an ethnic population that's really strong, then think about catering to that population. But that was a huge aha moment this weekend. And one of the students from California had that idea, just as we were talking about what are we looking for, and Kathy Shelton said, gee, why don't we do them, why don't we do something else, you know? And so that's what we did. So it was really good. All right, let me show you our schedule. On Wednesday, we had a travel day, people coming to Houston. On Thursday, Tim taught. We talked about how to find realtors. We talked about how to find bird dogs. We spent some time over the weekend on how to grow your business and the different stages that your business is in. And once you get to a certain stage, what things happen that change your business and make it, I don't want to say the word problem, but make different challenges for you. So when the business is just me on the phone, I have certain challenges. When the business is Amy and me and Gershom and the VAs and all the people all over the country sending me short sales, that's a whole separate set of issues that I have to deal with. So we talked a lot about that, and then we went out also on Thursday and looked at some houses, and that turned out extremely well. And we spent Thursday night kind of wrapping up whatever we needed to do for the weekend. On Friday, we looked at some REOs, went out again and looked at some REOs, and we looked at some of the houses that we were going to sell on the weekend. And that turned out really well. And we had another aha moment on Friday. And you guys write this down. If you're doing REOs, Ray Manglasang is the guy in Tim's office that does REOs. Okay, so I am Tim's acquisitions manager, and I do mostly owner finance and short sales. Ray is also an acquisition manager, but he does mostly REOs. So we have everything kind of divided out. There's 3 or 4 of us that work with Tim. Bottom line is, the house that Ray got, he told the realtor he wanted the house, but it was pending. In other words, it was already sold. And he told the realtor if that sale doesn't go through, to go ahead and call him. And sure enough, that sale didn't go through, and Ray got the house. So there's another moment for you guys that if the word pending is on there, that may just be an opportunity just in disguise for you. Okay, so if you're doing REOs or short sales and you have the word pending on there, go ahead and tell the realtor that if that thing drops out, to go ahead and call you. You'd like to make an offer on it. Okay, so that to me is worth the price of admission to do them in Spanish, to do the bandit signs and the marketing in Spanish, and then to do the to work on the pendings as well. That was a great thing for the weekend that we learned how to do. Anyhow, during the morning we looked at houses, and then from the afternoon we had a working lunch where we went through the contracts and talked about where to put everybody's name and the numbers and all that kind of thing. And we'll show you one of these that I'm working on now that we have a house sold. And we basically tried to clean up everything that we had out, all the flex options we had out, so we knew what we were going to market Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. Now think of this, we didn't start marketing our houses until Friday afternoon or Friday evening. And we went out and ate supper. I changed that. We did not go out and eat supper. We went out on our own, and everybody ate on their own. And we went out and did bandit signs from about 6:30 to about 9:30 or 10. And we put out about 100 bandit signs out all over town or all over the areas. So think of where, if you're going to be doing bandit signs, take where your property is, and then draw a circle around it, maybe a mile and a half wide, and then saturate that area with bandit signs. And we had just the greatest time. We'd rented a van, and I had about, 9 or 10 people in our van, and we all got everybody out knocking bandit signs into the ground. And it hadn't rained here in a real long time, so the ground was really hard, and it was just a fun time watching everybody. I don't know, you guys are thinking my life's pretty boring, but it was a great time having everybody out there working and having a good time, and we were whizzing around just having a fun time. So that's what we did on Friday. Then on Saturday, we started taking phone calls. Now, we put bandit signs out starting about 6:30 or 7 on Friday, and the phone started ringing about 7:30 or 8 on Friday night. And it has not stopped yet. It's gotten to a point yesterday that I couldn't get anything done, and I finally just turned my phone off, and I did it again here about an hour ago. We had about 70 or so calls yesterday, and we've had about another 60 calls today. Unbelievable what's happened when we put Spanish on those bandit signs. Unbelievable. But anyhow, what we did is when people called in, we have a form that we just made up that day that basically this form says name, phone number, email address, and what are you looking for. So we just want to keep track of whoever calls in. So you guys make up one of those forms for you. If you looked at my office, you would find all these little pieces of paper laying around and all these Post-it notes. That's the way most of us keep track of our buyers, and that's not a very good way to do that. So what we went to is this system of just name, phone number, email. That's all we really need. I don't need their address or anything. I really just need a name and a phone number. And then what are you looking for? So I'm looking for a 322 in Houston. Okay, how much down, how much a month? That's the questions we asked. You know, what are you looking for, and how much down, how much a month? And then we then told them that one of us would be, and if I was on the phone, I would say to them, I'm going to be at the house at 1 o'clock. So if you can make it out there, I'll show you the house at 1 o'clock. Is that okay? And they always said yes. And then about 10:30 or 11, we confirmed back with them on Saturday that they're going to make it. And we basically had an open house from 1 until whenever people quit showing up. Now, most people showed up between 1 and 1:30. Our open house didn't last past 2 or 2:15. Okay? And what happened with these open houses is that when 4 and 5 people showed up at one time, it created a feeding frenzy, and that's how we sold this house. We had one person filling out an application, and then as soon as that started, then we had 2 people filling out an application, and then we had 3, and it just turned into a free-for-all. And that's the way you want them. You want them to be a circus, you know. It was just a great time. So we ended up getting we ended up deciding on one of these applications that we got, and we're working on the contract now to get this put together. But basically, we put out 50 bandit signs per house. Some were a little more, some were a little less. And off we go on Saturday and Sunday. We did the same thing on Sunday. We're going to do an open house at 2 o'clock. So basically, we just told the people, listen, I'm going to be at the house at 2 o'clock if you can make it. And now we've got people that are going to see them tomorrow and over the weekend. And we've changed the program just a little bit on Sunday. And we decided we're going to do a carryover weekend. Since we told everybody how to do their business and do it virtually, then what we're going to do this weekend is allow these students to keep working these same leads, and the 4 or 5 of us that live here in Houston will become bird dogs for them. So that's going to be an interesting time, and we're going to meet again tomorrow night, split the leads out, split all the websites that we have that are generating leads, and we're going to try to get some more leads for buyers, more houses for buyers, and take the houses we have and try to match those up. So that's going to be our job next week. So we have about 150, maybe 170 buyers right now that we don't have a house for. So what do you do with those? You know, it's like we need to find some more houses. So that's new for this particular program. But anyhow, after Sunday, everybody went home. Now, let me tell you kind of where these leads are all coming from. When we got there on Friday, we wanted to call or email the motivated sellers from Do Deals, and I divided the people that were there into 3 teams. And the team leader, for the most part, just took whoever looked at me first. They became team leader, and we took those and said, okay, you're going to start at the back of Do Deals and call toward the front of Do Deals motivated sellers. Then whoever was sitting next to them, you're going to start at the front of Do Deals and call toward the back of Do Deals motivated sellers. And then the person next to them, the team leader would say, you're going to go to the instant lead generator and call from there. And then Tim's got a new site that we're working with. Somebody's going to call from there. And then somebody's going to be doing emails from myhousedeals.com. And somebody's going to go to Section 8 after you're finished with your job, and there's 6 people in each team. Somebody go to Section 8 and call. And somebody go to Green Sheet. That's our penny paper, a free newspaper. You guys back east, I think it's called Penny Saver back east. Anyhow, you're going to go to the Green Sheet and look for sale by owners. So that's how we divided the work up, and everybody had a job. And then when somebody was finished with calling, again, our number one goal, and our number one weakness is calling. You know, we're pretty good at emailing. So they had to call first, and once they got finished with their calling, then we would start emailing other places. But these are all the lead sites that we used. So if you don't know all these sites, write them down. I'll just go over them with you real quick. You know motivated sellers on Do Deals, and we like to work the back of that more than we like to work the front of that. So with the apprentice group, we started 6 months ago because those people are really motivated. And every once in a while we run into those that are sold their house and, you know, not the nicest people we've ever dealt with, but that's okay. We also use the instant lead generator or Craigslist You know, if you don't have the IOG, then it's just Craigslist. We try to take all the realtor ads out and call the people that we think are motivated to sell their house as owner financing. MyHouseDeals.com is a pay site that we have, and it's Doug Smith's site, and Doug and Tim are together, or used to be together somehow. I don't know how it all worked, but he's got some leads on there as well. We go to GoSection8.com. We're looking for landlords there, and we're looking for buyers and sellers on the GoSection8 website. And those would be people who, if we had a property and they would like to use that, then of course they could buy that. Or more often than not, what we were looking for is people who have Section 8 tenants that are tired landlords, and they're ready to let their property go. Okay, on the green sheet, we're looking for anything that's for sale, any kind of real estate for sale, and we called every investor on the green sheet. And if you look in your Penny Saver or those free newspapers, and you're looking for investors on there that are saying things like, you know, like, oh gosh, what is it? Workman special, handyman special, those kind of ads. We call those and talk about the house, but before we leave, we always ask this question. And the question is, are you doing short sales? And more times than not, those investors who are basically buying a house and then fixing it and then selling and doing one at a time, they don't like short sales because they're a pain in the neck. And, you know, we sub them out to Corey Boatwright's group. We outsource them. And so we like them. And so what we do then is we would pay them some kind of a fee to get those leads. And therefore, we've then taken an investor who doesn't like short sales and made him our bird dog for short sales. And so he comes across quite a few short sales that we will never have. So that's a great source for you if you like doing short sales. Okay? ForSaleByOwner.com is just another website. We also took the Houston newspaper from about a month ago and just divided up the real estate sections in there. We had some bird dogs that ran through town and wrote down every for rent or for sale by owner or for lease in certain neighborhoods. I particularly went through a certain neighborhood, and we wrote down like 30 to 35 for sale by owners and for rents in about an hour. So we knew the neighborhoods to look for, and we'll talk about this again later, maybe next week, on how we did some of that kind of thing. Also look on RehabList.com. There's some houses there. And then Amy, our VA, had a few warm seller leads that she sent our way. And warm seller leads for us are things like like Amy's got a sales group that works with our team, and she would send out some emails, and then if someone responded to those emails, and then Amy sends those to our group to work. Okay. And also we had somebody working on Backpage, on Postlets, on Zillow. We scoured everything pretty well over the weekend. Okay, so there's a lot of good lead sources there for you, a lot of good places for you, okay? And if you need to go back, somebody questioned that. I need to go back and write this down, and I will. All right, and then the marketing part of that, we had Amy's team doing some marketing for us during the week on Craigslist. Of course, our biggest thing is the bandit signs here. And then we did call and an email campaign. We had people call the buyers from Craigslist. There were people who want to buy a house. And then we also had them email that same buyer's list, and we're still getting emails back from that. And we will for another, I don't know, another 4 or 5 days, we'll be getting emails and calls back from the work we did over the weekend. Also, I've got a fairly extensive buyer's list, and we used the buyer's list from the times before. So we've got about 600 on our buyer's list that we've kind of made. We've worked through as the time has moved along, and that's gone really well. We posted on the Craigslist. We did all the fun Craigslist ads: must sell, desperate to sell, divorce. The very best Craigslist ad and the very best bandit sign was, let's see, it says, "Please help!" exclamation exclamation, "buy my house." And that one, we got a lot of calls off of that. Okay, we ran some cards by some pawn shops and some cash advance places. Some of us put some ads in the for rent section. You know, people that are looking to rent a house, they would also do owner financing. And we did some flyers for neighbors. I told everybody, just do anything, even if it takes you getting the blimp. Go out and get a blimp or hire a biplane or something and pull a big sign behind it. We've got to find a way to market these houses. And it turned out really, really well. So anyhow, let's get to the fun part of this. We divided them into groups. We had the cheetahs, and then we had the tigers, and we had the lions, okay? That's my school teaching background. And one of the students said, how come you use cats? And I said, well, I've never seen a man-eating turtle. So we used aggressive animals, hoping that they would be aggressive for the weekend. And I'll give you the facts on the weekend, and we'll do some questions. We had 209 outgoing calls. We accepted 166 incoming calls and growing. We did 143 emails and returned emails from to buyers and from buyers. We posted on Craigslist, Backpage, Postlets, 67 postings. We completed 35 seller questionnaires. We got 16 flex options back. We did one short sale on the weekend, and we sold one house. And that house is going to turn into another one tomorrow. We're showing one this afternoon. I think it's going to work out just fine. So that's kind of what we did for the weekend. Let me get you some fun pictures and let you see everybody work. And this is Tim's office down on Highway 59, so you can see everybody's getting after it. It's a very relaxed atmosphere, and it was an extremely good time. And you can see people with their feet up. And this is the best sign of the bunch back here. It says, "Help me buy my house. Help me!" Exclamation, buy my house. And that's Kathy Shelton right here. That was her idea, and it turned out to be extremely good. Okay, so those are the people we dealt with. The house we sold over the weekend is this little house right here, and we sold it for $109, and I'll show you the contract on it, show you what we're doing with that. Let's see, here's a contract that we've printed already today, and I've sent it to him. I'm waiting for him to send it back so we can get the seller to sign off on it. But it looks to me, for the most part, it's a done deal. I'm waiting for it to come up for you guys. Okay, still not there. Anyhow, we'll just run through it real quick, and I'll show you some of the money part of this is real simple. The house is $109,000. He's going to put between $4,000 and $5,000 down. He said he had $4,000 in his hand, and by the time we close, he could have $5,000. And so, you know, obviously, I put $5,000 down on the contract, and he's going to finance $104,000. There we go. So you can see where we are. Top of the contract on all these Texas real estate contracts. These, of course, are just the names of the parties. Here's the legal description, and the address is all here. Okay. Oops. Did that go away? There we go. And there are no exclusions. See where I am down here where it says none. And let's get to the sales price. So he bought it for $109, and this is a wraparound mortgage. He's going to put $5,000 down. Out of that $5,000 down, the seller does not want anything, so that $5,000 is our money, and then he's going to finance $104,000. Okay, we're doing a wraparound mortgage, and basically a wraparound mortgage is we're taking the existing mortgage that's in place and wrapping another mortgage on top of it. Okay, we're going to close it at a title company. We'll do title insurance, survey, and everything, so it's a real-to-life sale. And then he's going to have a 3-year balloon. So in 3 years, he's going to have to have a balloon payment of about $102, $103, something like that. And I've got the exact numbers on another page. But he's going to have a balloon payment, and then he'll have to refinance at that time. Now, here's the good news and the bad news. The good news is we've taken what has happened in this country now is it's a perfect storm. We have people who have a nick on their credit and lenders who are pretty tight with their money. So we have buyers who either can't qualify for a loan, or if they do almost qualify for a loan, the lenders are holding back a little bit on lending. So we have buyers who are having a hard time getting a loan and therefore buying a house. And then because of that, we have sellers who cannot sell their house for the price they need to sell it to get out of it. So you've got kind of a declining market. The Houston market is not declining really drastically. I think we're down 2 or 3%. But this lady owes $109,000 on her house. That's what she owes. Okay, and so by the time that we get it all finished up, then she's going to lose a little bit on it in 3 years, but she's okay with that. We're going to be able to get this person in, and he's all good on closing it in 3 years. So that's the good news. The bad news is what if this guy can't get a loan in 3 years? Or what if the economy doesn't change in 3 years? And we get asked those questions a lot. And I respond to that as who would have thought we would be in this mess to begin with. So if we would have taken a page out of the calendar a year ago and wrote down everything that has happened to us in the last 365 days, none of us would have thought that the government would take over GM and the banking business and Wall Street and, you know, all this stuff would be happening. Nobody would have thought that. So for us to try to guess on what's going to happen 3 years from now is probably not the smartest thing. This young man has got a great job. He's got a wife who's got a great job, and he will be able to qualify for a loan if he will do some really minor things, like pay his bills on time. He's got the money, he just doesn't have the discipline to sit at the table and do it. So those are the kind of things that we're working with people, trying to find people who have a great ability to pay, who've got a nick in their credit, and have what they say is the discipline to make a few minor changes in their life, and we'll do some credit repair with these people and get them set up, and it'll work just really peachy, okay? So that's what we did for the weekend, and that's about it. Let's see, you got a little picture of Tim there, and that's Dwayne Mallett from Albuquerque, and I don't know who the big guy is. Let's see if we can let you guys see that. Oh yeah, look at this. Yeah, it's a nice little picture. So that's the way that turned out. You can see on the back of the wall here, we basically just wrote down the address of the house, city, what it was, 322, 6,000 down, 1,100 a month, and that's what we wrote on the back on the wall, on the chalkboard, so we knew what the properties were while we were sitting there making those calls. Okay? So let's do some quick questions, and then I've got another HUD I want to show you. Let's get our picture off of there so we can go back to the beginning. I've got another HUD on another owner finance we're about to close tomorrow, and it'd be really fun if you want to see these emails we've been doing all day. If you want to see some of those, it's been real fun doing that. Let's see. How are you accessing? Adam's asking, how are you accessing your REOs? Do you have realtor feeding your leads, or are you on the MLS? The answer is yes. We have realtors feeding us leads, and we're on the MLS. And Adam, I'll tell you what, I'll come back to that. So remind me if I don't get back to that, and it gets to be about 6 o'clock, you type it in again, because I want to show you how we're doing that. Ron's asking about the URL site for news sites. Tim's got a site that basically we're experimenting with the apprentice group to see if it's going to work yet. And so he's got a couple of things coming for everybody, but we're kind of the test case to see if we're going to be able to get on them and hold them down and make them work, okay? So that's what those sites are, okay? Kevin, let me unmute you, and we'll talk a little bit. I'll let you ask your question, just because I'm not a big fan of lecture. Kevin, you there? Kevin, you got a microphone? Kevin, hey Gershom, can we unmute Kevin Campbell?
Okay, sure. Let me just find him.
Were you like listening, or were you back there like puffing on a cigar or something?
I'm listening. I'm watching the.
Yeah, listening and puffing on a cigar, huh?
Okay, Kevin is unmuted now.
Okay, hey Kevin, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Where are you from?
San Diego.
Oh, it's terrific. We had some students from San Diego. That's a good, beautiful town. Still beautiful town, huh?
Yes, it is.
Okay, question. Go ahead.
When you say to market the short sales, I missed that part. Who are you asking about the short sales? Other investors or rehabbers?
Right. Let's think about where short sales come from. And there are the rehabbers are the people out there who basically are farming one neighborhood or 2 or 3 neighborhoods, you know, not a very small area. And they know that area really well, and they're knocking on the doors every month. We have a foreclosure list that comes out every month. But they don't want to fool with the short sales. They are construction people who are basically rehabbing a house. And so they always have an ad in these penny newspapers, or they'll have an ad. I see these bandit signs like at Home Depot, you know, handyman special, those kind of things. So they're trying to either wholesale that house or they'll rehab it and then sell it to a retail house. but they don't want to mess with short sales. So we just ask them if they're doing any short sales, and the answer usually is no. And we ask them why, and it's because there's too much paperwork and too much BS-ery with the bank, you know. And so then we then talk to them, and we get them to be our clients and be our bird dogs in those particular subdivisions. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you were talking about the green sheets, your local
Right.
flyer.
Right. Now we
And
also have a lot of realtors that shoot us short sales. You know, I mean, you know, we've done a lot of work with some of the other quote unquote gurus out there, the REO rock stars of the world and those kind of guys, and they're getting their leads just by doing a ton of relationship work. You know, by going to the realtor functions, going to the real estate functions, and all that kind of thing. And so that's what I've been doing, a lot of that, and doing very much less knocking on doors, calling, and all that, and basically trying to build my relationships with other people. And then when you do that, then all of a sudden the short sales just start showing up.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And that's what we were talking about with our California students. We had one from Redondo Beach, which is L.A. We had one from Sacramento, one from San Francisco, one from Oakland. And you know, your market is on those REOs is the lenders holding back just a little bit, and then when they let them out, you've got some pretty heavy investors out there that are bidding more than what the asking price is, and they're prepared to hang on to them for 3 or 4 or 5 years because they know in California if you can get a $500,000 house for $250,000, that will come back eventually, and that may be 3 or 4 years down the road. But for the single investor, the one person, that kind of creates a little different market for them. And so they're doing a lot of owner financing, and they're doing a lot of short sales right now and building those relationships. Okay?
Okay.
All right, cool. Thanks for the question. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Hey, let's go to RC next, because he has a bandit sign. Gershom, you want to do RC next?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hey, RC, how you doing?
Good. I'm doing fine, Stan. How about you?
I am really good. Thanks for asking. So ask your questions about bandit signs.
Okay. Let me go back to the question box so that I can recap. Basically, I was wondering, 50 signs per house. So if I'm going to be doing this by myself because I'm just getting started out with limited resources. Do you still recommend doing 50 houses? And I don't know how I'm going to do that, especially when I have to drive out 30, 40 miles away from where I live, where my potential deals are. And also, do you put property addresses on the bandit signs if they are specific to the deal that you're marketing?
What we did here, and what I do with my own bandit signs, you know, those are a trick. And when you first start out, as Tim tells all of us, you've got choices. It's either going to take time because I don't have the money to go out and hire somebody, or it's going to take money and I got to hire somebody to put these out. Now, when I first started, I went out. My sons and I went out, you know, and it was okay. I've got 2 boys, and I gave them a hammer and I drove. And we would put out bandit signs, and it was real fun, and we had a good time doing it. And now, since then, my 2 sons are off in college, and I've done them by myself. And honestly, it's a drag, so now I've hired somebody to do them. But to do bandit signs by yourself, I was doing about 20 to 30 a night, and I would do them on Friday night. You know, but I would park somewhere on a corner and do all 4 corners at once.
I see.
Okay, so I would park like in a service station or, you know, a drugstore or something, Walgreens, something like that, and then I would hit all 4 of those corners and run around and do my thing, and it was fun doing it. I had a good time, but it was by myself, so it was, you know, it'd be more fun if somebody was with me. But I was doing 20 to 30 of them. I never did 50 because I did when the boys and I were there, we could do them because it was quick. But when I was by myself, I never got to that 50 number. Okay.
Okay.
I don't put the property address on there.
I see.
So
Okay.
we put things on there like desperate to sell, owner financing, and their phone number. let's see, owner financing, 322, phone number.
Okay.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage, that kind of thing.
So
We
you're
don't
keeping
put on, go ahead.
you're keeping the ads generic, and also you're handwriting it.
Oh, yeah, you want to, the signs that you use to have people call you, those signs that say things like, we buy houses, you know, fair price, those kind of signs, you want to look like a business on those and have those professionally done.
Okay.
The signs that are for sale signs, you want to look like those are garage sale signs, like you're the homeowner that's desperate and you know, you're just trying to keep the bank from stealing your house away from you. Okay?
Okay.
And those work really, really, really well. So think of what you're putting on there. Must sell, exclamation point. 322, phone number. Now you didn't even put on there that you're selling a house. You know, you don't have to put that on there. Desperate to sell. Got it? Owner financing. So you're selling desperation, owner financing. That's all.
And these signs are handwritten.
Oh yeah, we did those giant marks a lot that stink.
I see.
Those big giant, you know, those big giant Sharpies. That's what we got. We got
And
them like
you-
the Wally World. Go ahead.
And you're using wooden stakes.
Yeah, we use the wooden ones because they're cheap, and sometimes I forget where I put them, and the city picks them up.
I see.
So I don't like using those metal stakes because they're kind of expensive.
Right. Right.
Now, if I'm really good, because let me think about where we were putting our signs out. Like the guy, we did yellow this weekend, and there's another sign out that said, let's see, owner financing, 4,000 down, 1,000 a month, and then he had a phone number, and then our sign was right next to it, desperate to sell, owner financing, phone number, different phone number. I would be curious to see who got the most calls. I think he had way too much information on his signs.
I see.
So if I didn't have $4,000, why would I call you?
Okay.
You guys see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so our goal and my goal in doing this is to build your buyers list.
Are you reusing the signs, or are you having to make up fresh signs every time you start your marketing campaign?
Well, if they're my signs, then I'm reusing them a lot.
Okay.
On these signs that we use for the weekend, we try to see how long they last.
I see.
Does that make sense? We want to see how long the
Yes.
phones will ring. And
Yes.
so we leave them out there until the city comes to get them.
Right. I have to be mindful of city ordinance here too, so that means I have to place them Friday and take them out before Monday morning.
Yeah, you don't want to get arrested. That was no fun.
Well, they can get pretty pesky over here.
Yeah, they can get nasty about it. Now, what we're doing here, now you guys think about this too. What we've done here is we have a Google phone. You guys, you know what I'm talking about, RC? Have you seen those?
Are you talking about Android, or are you talking about Google Voice?
Google Voice, thank you. So
Yeah.
it's called Google Voice, and we've
That's
also
free.
got it's free, and we've also have a Vonage line, a Vonage phone line.
Uh-huh.
And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make a virtual office. So we take that Google Voice number, and then we transfer that. We can transfer it up to 6 people. We transfer that to this weekend it was 6, but usually over the weekend, usual time, there's usually 3 or 4 of us that get the phone. And so that phone's always somebody around it, it's just like a regular office.
Okay.
And so we dump all of our stuff onto one website, that BigDaddyHouseDeals.com. It's where all of our students dump everything, and then we have somebody on the phone all the time. So remind me again, where are you from, RC?
I'm in Hernando, Mississippi, near the Mississippi-Tennessee state line. So my main focus is
right.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Right. So see, you can find some other investors up there that would work with you as a quote group, quote unquote, as a group. And we've got students that like in Huntsville, Alabama. I've got one in Mobile, Alabama, and they work together with each other so that the phones are always covered, so that everybody's showing each other's properties and all that. It's really a good deal.
I
It's
see.
a really fun thing to do. So you
I
got to start
haven't,
to build those things. Go ahead. Huh?
I haven't been able to find anybody who will work like that, but I will still persist. I did get some investor buyers who were interested over the last week.
Uh-huh.
but I didn't find anybody who might partner with me in this kind of effort so far. But I'll try that.
You know, that's when it gets really fun, is when you start partnering with people, and A, the deals just come to you, and B, you're selling other people's houses. You know, it's like, well, I don't have one of these, but I have one of those. So that's kind of cool. So anyhow, okay?
Okay, while you have me on the phone, can I ask my other questions that I also posted?
Yeah.
You mentioned about calling for rent and for sale by owner candidates. What
Right.
kind of script do you use when you're calling them? Is there something we can download at Do Deals University?
Yeah, I'll tell you what we have in the apprentice group. As I listen to what I say a lot.
Okay.
I don't listen to what I say, but I've recorded it, and I just kind of wrote down the words that I say over and over and over. Okay, here they are. You ready? You're going to write these
Yeah.
down? It's real simple. So you've called somebody. They've picked up the phone.
Okay.
Calling about the house you have for sale. We all know that. So far, so good, right?
Right.
Can you tell me about it? You're just trying to build a rapport. You're filling out the seller questionnaire. They're telling you it's got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, the brick's good. Okay?
Okay.
I don't care about any of that. Now, this is me personally. Some of our other students are like, tell me about the air conditioning. Tell me about the roof. Tell me about the driveway. Tell me about the 17th brick in the 3rd row. You know, I don't care about that stuff. All I'm trying to do is build a rapport with these people.
Okay.
And I want them to be able to talk to me. All right? And so they'll say, you know, I've got this house. It's in Katy, Texas. And then I would say, wow, those schools in Katy are real good, aren't they? So I'm trying to pick up on something else besides their house.
I
And they'll
see.
say, yeah, the schools are great, and I used to be a band director, so I know all the bands, and I know the teachers and all that. And I say, what does your son or daughter do? You know, yeah, you have kids? Yes, I have kids. And we start talking more about family than we do the house,
Okay.
all right? And
Okay.
then we'll talk for a while, and I say, okay, well, kind of tell me the numbers on your house. And I think I've told you guys this before. I ask them a lot of questions that they have to answer yes to.
Yes. Okay. I remember that.
Remember that? And
Yeah.
I'll go back on the seller questionnaire. Your house has 3 bedrooms, right? Yes, it has 3 bedrooms. And so kind of I want them to get to know me a little bit, and then I want to start directing where I want to take them.
Okay.
Okay? So now we feel like, I mean, we've been laughing and we've been cutting up or whatever happens. You know, I mean, I'm not serious about it. I really have a good time with them on the phone. I try to have fun with it. And finally it comes down to, well, just how much do you need for your house? You know? And they'll say, okay, I need 100,000. And I'll go, well, that's subdivision. What do you think those are worth in that area? And see, I try to play stupid to make them answer. You get what I'm trying to do?
Yeah.
I know what they're worth. I know that area. But it's like, I don't know too much about that. What do you think those are worth over there? And then they tell me what they think, instead of me asking, how much are they worth? How much you want? How much down is it? See, I can try to change the dynamic that way. Okay? And then we come to a point where they say, I owe 100, the house is worth 103. Okay? That's not a wholesale deal, right?
Right.
And
Good.
we've told the apprentice students, we made a number. If it's 60% or below, that's wholesale for the apprentice group. Now, that could be 70%. It depends. You know, there's some houses in Memphis that are right downtown that are really old, that are really wonderful houses. It's a great place to be, you know, over by the hospital, and it's a really desirable area.
Okay.
There's also some places right across the street that are not desirable.
Right.
So, you know, so you could sell one at 70% or 80% and still do okay on some of those. But the general rule we're saying is let's go 60%, and then we still have students sending these seller questionnaires so we can talk about them. But if they don't know, then we Skype each other and we talk about it, and we talk on the phone a lot.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now that's not, but the house we're talking about is not a wholesale deal.
Right. Okay.
So I said, well, you know, and again, RC, I'm from West Texas. Let's see, Tim would say, the exact words on the seller questionnaire are, that does not meet our cash buying criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I say, you know, that's just not, and I don't know if I stammer about it. See, it's hard for me to say those. I don't know if I can pay cash for that. You know, it's just not quite in the range I need to be at. So can I tell you about our owner financing program?
Okay.
and they usually say, okay. Okay,
All
and I
right.
usually don't try quite. I'm usually not quite as wimpy as I just sounded. So I'd say,
Okay.
that doesn't quite meet our cash buying criteria. That's not really where I need to be cash wise. But we're selling a lot of houses owner financing. We're selling a lot of houses. I mean, I can sell a house in a couple of days on some of these houses on owner finance. So can I tell you a little bit about that? And then they always say yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now the owner financing part of this, you use everything you see on the news. There's 1 million foreclosures a year.
Okay.
About 2 million short sales a year. About 250,000 people per month are posted for foreclosure.
Okay.
Just the way the economy is now, I want you to get cash price. I want you to get that retail price. I want you to do that. But right now, the world won't let you do that. And then they say yes or no, and sometimes I'll ask that magic question of, why don't you think your house is sold yet? How come your house hadn't sold? That sounds like a nice house. And then they say, it's the economy. Now, what would you say to that? It's the economy.
I would agree with that.
Right, I say, I agree with you. Now, your choice is, you can sell your house on owner financing. We can do some things with owner financing. Or you can wait until the economy changes, but that may take you 4 or 5 years.
Right.
So what do you think? What do you think you want to do with that? You want
So
to
you're
wait
leading.
for a while?
Yeah. Okay. You're leading them
Uh,
to agree to a quick sale strategy.
Right. Yeah, that's a nice way of saying I've killed the first buffalo, and the rest of the herd's going to follow me now. So yeah, so what we've done is we've led them to a point where we backed them into a spot where they understand what we're saying now.
Okay.
I mean, do you want to wait that long? No, I don't want to wait that long. Well, here's what we've been doing, and this works really well. Okay, we find some buyers, and it's what we just talked about. We've got buyers who have a hard time getting a loan. We have sellers who have a hard time getting the price that they owe for their house. So let's put those two people together. They're good people. They have a job. Just something happened, and they can't get a loan right now. So how about that? Let's put them together. You get to approve. You get to approve everybody. We don't ram anybody down anybody's throat. We don't do any of that. We have an application. We'll do a credit app. We'll do a background check. So does that sound like something you can do? And maybe in a year, 24 months, I don't know, maybe 36. I don't know the time. They can get a loan.
Okay.
And so you get retail for your house, plus you make a little bit every month, plus you're making your payment on it. You can go on and move and do what you need to do. Okay, and it helps this guy out too. See how it turned out?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. One more question. Do you have any resources like mortgage brokers and credit restoration people who will work nationwide that we can use, who may be familiar with the kind of deals that we want to do?
Yeah, I've got a guy here in town. We have two people here in town. Ray works with somebody, and I work with somebody different. So I can find those for you and see if Amy can send those to you.
Appreciate it.
The mortgage brokers that's kind of a local thing, and I've got a couple of people here we work with, and we do so many short sales. We try to find somebody. Short sales there's so much in the seasoning part of that we're doing
Right.
We're doing a lot of local banks. We're trying to do that a lot.
I see.
That we don't have those seasoning issues.
Well, we had a few bankers come to our local RIA to speak, and most of them said they need at least 6 months proof of ownership before even they will deal with us. So that kind of made it tough for me. And also there was a mortgage broker who used to attend the meetings, and of late last 2 months he quit showing up, and then I realized they told me their financing has dried up, so he's not doing that business anymore.
Right. And so what you have to do is you have to find a lender that will not have seasoning issues. Now, where do you find those? That's a local bank or some kind of a credit union or a private investor. So you guys all understand why they have this. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, all that. Darcy, all that stuff, right?
Yes. Not in detail, but I know enough that they do require seasoning.
Right. So what happened, back in the day is you had these non-conforming loans. Non-conforming means it did not conform to Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae guidelines.
Okay.
And therefore you could do some things that Fannie Mae would not necessarily let you do. But you paid a little higher interest rate or you paid more points or something. Well, now just about all of these conventional loans are conforming. That means they have to conform to the guidelines that the federal government sets up, which is a seasoning issue.
Right.
Now, even out of that, about half the loans I get, there's so many of them, and they're so inundated, and there's so many. I don't want to use the word problems, but there's so much stuff happening at the banks.
I see.
About half the loans I do go unnoticed. And so they still get the loan put through. I had one the other day that was a Wells Fargo loan, conventional loan. And I was going, this will never, ever work. This will never work. And I was on the realtor about it. This is not going to work. And dang, that thing closed, and it was never a problem. Nobody ever said a word about conforming or anything.
Okay.
So, and I called Tim and I said, what's up with that? And he said, well, these are not rules, they're guidelines. And so if they miss it once, it's just a guideline. They missed a guideline, no big deal.
Okay.
Okay? So what we're doing is we're trying to find a lot of local banks that don't necessarily sell that money on the open market to a secondary source. But they may keep that in-house for a few years and then sell it.
I see.
So we're looking for local banks and credit unions and private investors, some of those too.
All right. I would appreciate. Pardon me.
Well, with that, it's changed the way we're doing some of these short sales. I mean, I used to do, and I still do, just short sales anywhere, any price. But I really like the ones that are a little smaller now. I don't make as much money, but they're a whole lot easier to get them worked out.
I see. Okay. I'm just focusing on quick cash strategies because that's what my need is right now. So I put short sales for now on the back burner. So
quick cash is good.
For me, especially good.
It's good for anybody, I mean, if there's a penny laying down there, I wouldn't say I'll come back in 2 months and get you. Quick cash, get it now. But don't pass up those short sales.
How would I monetize that if I can't turn it into a cash deal in the next 30 days?
Well, let's think about this. Let's take what you're doing. Let's say we're going to do owner financing only.
Okay.
But you have 3 short sales that cross your path.
Okay.
Now, don't turn those down. Do those, because you will be 90 days down eventually. 90 days will pass, and that'll come to fruition.
Right. Okay.
So don't give up on any of those. We don't let too many deals just go. We don't. I don't let anything go past. If it's a deal, it's a deal.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Even though it may be 4 months from now before it's going to become a deal.
Okay.
It's like a worm. It becomes a butterfly after a while. So I don't let anything go away. We're still working on certain things, but and I like short sales. So I like them and I do a lot of them. But that doesn't mean I don't pass up any wholesale deals because I like short sales.
Right.
If I can, I've got 2 condos at $10,000, and we're going to sell them for 15 each, and it'll take about 10 days to do this. So if the guy that owns them also owns some stuff in California we're going to short sale.
Okay.
So you don't pass anything up, because then eventually it's going to be December, and you'll be going, boy, I need to get paid in December too.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
One final question, Stan. This weekend, when you all did the event with the apprentice students, how many deals did you all eventually close? In the sense, like how many down payments did you all end up getting this weekend?
What happens on these is we're doing wraparound mortgages here a lot now.
Okay.
And so basically we're taking their existing mortgage and wrapping another one around it. And so those take a little more time because we have to go to the title company.
I see. When you say more time, a week, 2 weeks?
Maybe 3 weeks.
I see. Okay.
It depends. It depends on how we're doing them and how we're structuring all of them.
Okay.
Okay. And we've got one now that they wanted to close 6 weeks later. We did. I'll wait 6 weeks, but it's a deal's a deal.
Okay.
Supposed to close it today. Keyword was supposed to close it today.
Okay.
Anyhow, what we're doing on those is we have a credit application. So we got one application on Saturday, and then Sunday everybody kind of ran off to the airport. There's so many people from out of town, so Sunday was not the best day we've had. And now we showed another house last night, and they're looking at it again today. So it looks like we'll get another one tonight or tomorrow.
Okay.
So for me, Tim likes to see these as how many did you get done on that day, and the realist in me says how many of them can we do in a week. You know, it usually takes a week to get them all put together.
I see. Okay.
And a lot of it has to do with the weekend of the month.
Right.
So think of this: most of these people are renters, and when do they usually move? What day?
Just before the first, or
Right. They're usually moving the first of the month. So we did this on the third weekend,
Okay.
which means the people who are looking for houses now are not looking for October 1st. They're looking for November 1st.
I
Does
see.
that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you're going to do one of these and be really heavy into it, do them the first and second weekends of the month, and then try really hard to get them put together before the third and fourth weekend so those people can move in.
I see. Okay.
But the very first one we did back in April, we sold 2 houses in a day, but that was the second weekend of the month, and we're coming to understand better about the mentality of an apartment, kind of a renter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to move on the first of the month. Their lease is up on the first of the month.
Right. Okay.
So the third of the month's not going to give them enough time to buy something new and move and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, Stan. Thank you very
All right.
much.
I appreciate it very much. Have fun, and you go to Mississippi and go gamble for me. Okay?
All right. I'll do that.
All right. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Bye. Adam Stein, you've got just a gaggle of questions. That's a good word, isn't it? A gaggle of questions. Hey, Gershom, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's go back to Adam.
Okay, sure.
He's got it.
Hey guys,
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. I'm a little tired, but I'm wonderful.
So you're right. I do have lots of questions. I appreciate you taking the time for me.
Surely, it's all good.
Let me start. I guess I'm getting into the business. Just getting my lead flow going. To find motivated sellers. I just recently bought into the virtual vesting program, so I need to kind of go through my Due Deals University and really, learn and get my arms around all the different techniques you guys are talking about. But generally, as a general overview, I understand all the workings of deal making and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Specifically, what I'm doing is, and there were some good questions the other gentleman asked about bandage signs that I wrote down, so I want to go back to that for a moment if I can. You mentioned that you handwrite the signs when you're selling,
Right.
but you purchase professionally printed signs when you're trying to attract a motivated seller to call you about selling you their house.
Right.
Okay? Because I mean, there's been different. I've gained different advice from other, gurus or other folks out there in the marketplace that it's, it's just as effective to handwrite. But you're telling me that in your experience, you find that it's more effective to have them professionally printed.
What we want to do is we want to look like a professional business that has the money to buy your house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to look like, if I'm buying a house, I don't want to look like a schlub that's in a bad pickup truck with, a pair of blue jeans or a pair of overalls and a red checkered shirt and 2 teeth out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I want to look like a professional person, and I show up like in my realtor clothes, my school teaching clothes when I'm looking at houses. Some people don't. They show up in their cutoffs and all that. I don't do that. I want to look professional. If they're saying to me, I'm going to give you my house, and that's what we ask them to do a lot, or sell it to me for a lot of money, then I want them to think that I'm a professional person that can close the deal.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of them, and it works for other people the other way. It's whatever floats everybody's boat. But that's
My
what
general
works for me.
approach. Yeah, my general approach, when I'm face to face with somebody is very professional. But I just bought a whole bunch of bandit signs that are blank.
Right.
getting ready to go out there and write, sell, I'll buy your house today for cash kind of stuff on it, and you're kind of getting me to rethink that.
Well, but you'll have people that will respond to that.
Right.
It'll be the different people that would respond to something that's printed.
I see.
It's it's how come some guys like blondes and some like brunettes? It's just
Right. Okay. Good point. In conjunction.
Hang on. Let's think about this though.
Yeah.
I live in North Houston. In my subdivision is like 2,900 square foot houses up to 5,000 footers.
Okay.
Now, am I attracting that subdivision? Am I going to be working in that subdivision? Then I would put out the professional sign.
Sure.
If I'm going to be in downtown Houston in a house that was built back in the 20s, that's boarded up, and and I'm just looking for whoever the relative that owns that to call me, that's a different animal.
Okay.
So think about the market.
I'm in South Florida.
Right.
And my target is, I live in Palm Beach County, which is southeast Florida, just north of Fort Lauderdale.
Right. I know it well.
And so my target, I live in Boca Raton.
Right.
And Boca is a mix, a lot of very high-end communities, gated, private communities, very typical for South Florida. But there's also a lot of, let's call them lower-income working-class neighborhoods, all single families, nice communities, nice school districts, all family neighborhoods, but typically more ethnic, and price points range from as low as $100,000 to up to $250,000. Where of course there's many homes in Boca Raton that will sell in the excess of 7 figures.
Right.
My target are those $100,000 to $250,000 houses.
Absolutely. Now, where are you going to put those signs?
My plan was to put them, head out Friday night, and put them. I did buy the wire stakes, the metal stakes, and the fluted banded signs. And I was just going to put them at the. I basically took my community of Boca. I broke it down into quadrants, okay, and I'm going to work each quadrant each weekend. And what I'm going to do is go into the neighborhoods themselves, and at the entry points of the neighborhoods, I'm going to put the signs right at all the entry and exit points.
Okay. Now let me give you an idea. You ready?
Yeah.
Look. Can you see my screen? Can you see the screen? Let me mark these. These signs. These are regular signs. See them right here? See where I'm circling right?
Yeah, the yellow ones. Yeah.
Those are regular size signs. These are half signs, half that.
What are they, the 18 by 24s are the regular size?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I just.
Yeah.
We've bought these before, these regular signs, and just cut them in half and put them on a wooden stake.
Okay.
We can buy them here for, I think I spent 80 cents a piece on these.
Okay.
So 40 cents a piece. See,
that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, for 40 cents and a 10 or 15 cent wooden stake, maybe a 50 cent wooden stake, I got $1 on it. Okay, so far.
Oh, that's a great deal.
I take those signs. Okay, you ready? Take those signs and put them at the entrance and exit of Home Depot, Walmart, and Lowe's.
Home Depot, Walmart, and Lowe's. Okay.
They'll be gone the next day.
Right.
Okay? But you put them in the morning, they'll stay all day. Then go back again the next morning. If they're gone, put another one out.
Now you put them out during the week or only on weekends?
It's only on weekends.
Okay.
The security guy won't mess with them. He won't mess with them during the day. He's too busy doing other things.
Okay.
The night crew will pull them up. They will get out there and they're picking up carts and all that, trash and everything. They will pull them up.
Okay. Where do you buy those things for 80 cents?
I've got a XYZ sign company. You guys write that down in Humble, Texas. Humble, Humble, XYZ sign.
That's great. I just bought all mine from Go ahead.
Well, it's okay. I mean, I bought the small ones from BanditSigns.com or something like
right.
that. That's in Redwood, Texas. They're like $1 a piece.
Yeah, right.
And then Tim, just think about, if you listen to Tim, think about him like half laughing and calling me names. He said, "Man, did you screw up? You should have got them from this other place." So that's where I got the big ones.
Yeah, I bought mine from a website, Dirt Cheap Signs.
Right.
And including my metal stake and the full-out 18 by 24, I think I'm maybe $1.50, including the shipping.
Right.
Which is pretty good too.
That's real good. Yeah. I'd cut those. I personally would cut them in half and put them on a wood stake, but that's just me.
Now I use the white ones. I see you're using the yellow ones.
Well, that's because we drove around and saw a bunch of white ones, so we did yellow.
Okay.
We've seen a bunch of yellow, we have white ones, you know?
Okay. Okay.
We just want to be different.
Now, do you think putting them out at the neighborhood entrance points and that sort of thing is a good idea as well, including Home Depot, Walmart, and Lowe's?
We put them only at the traffic lights. And stop
Only at traffic lights. And do you put them up on the telephone poles or the light posts, or do you just put them on the ground with stakes in the ground?
The ones where we're selling a house, we put them on the ground.
Okay.
If you're doing them just for the weekend, just put them on the ground.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
If you've got one of those Staplenator deals, have you seen those?
Yeah.
If you want to put them up real high, then that's cool to do. But I'm not a big fan of leaving all that trash up there all the time. It makes it
Yeah, me too. Okay. To that end, you know, it was recommended to me to buy that you can do a toll-free forwarding number.
Right.
You know, an 866 or an 877 that's totally untraceable.
Right.
That way, if you know, the code enforcement folks get their panties in a bunch about having a bunch of bandit signs out there and they want to find me, they can't really find me.
Right.
What do you think about that versus having a local direct phone number?
We use a Google number, that Google number we just talked about.
Yeah,
And
I heard that.
That gives me in Houston it's 281. That's the prefix.
Right.
That gives me a 281 number, so I look local, but
Right.
it still matches up with my virtual number.
So it's like it's a call forwarding type number.
Absolutely. And
All right.
Fiona's
So
on the
the
line.
Google
Do you know-
number.
Right. Do you know Fiona?
I don't.
Fiona is one of our students. She's on the call as well. She's in New Zealand. She's got an 832 number, which is the same prefix as my local Houston 832 number.
How about that?
She's in New Zealand. See, so that she's calling people on Skype, and I think she's got a Skype number, and she's calling people back and forth, and they think that she's in Houston.
So just use a Google phone number.
Right. Well, and I think they're out of numbers right now, so you may have to do something a little different or wait a little bit.
So if that's the case, would you recommend, or do you think using a toll-free number is a good idea for forwarding, or do you think somebody who's local wants to see a local number?
I think the local people want to see local. I've got an 877 number that we were doing just because I could do voice blast. Now they've outlawed those, but I used that 877 a lot and did not get near the response as we do on a 281 or 713 Google number.
Okay. All right. Good. That's good feedback. All right. As far as REOs.
Yeah.
So I asked you the question about how are you finding your REOs, if you're getting realtors to feed you the leads, or if you're on the MLS yourself. I'm not sure if you guys are any of you are realtors or not with access to the MLS. I am a licensed real estate agent in Florida, but I'm not an active realtor, and I don't want to be. And I could get on the MLS. It'll cost me about $1,000 to get on it. I'm contemplating doing it, but I've got a couple of real estate agents that are out there that are sending me stuff. One of them in particular works for a very large REO shop here in South Florida, but that REO shop has kind of gained a reputation for being very difficult for investors.
Okay.
You know, really putting you through the grind as far as, you know, they want you to close. I mean, they're not willing to take investors who are just going to put, you know, $500 or $1,000 down and then go look for your buyer, do a simultaneous close, all that. They're really trying to put the screws to you.
Okay.
So I'm just interested in your general feedback on accessing REO property. I know you mentioned, and I've heard the REO Rockstar webinar. I haven't bought his program, but he talks a lot about building relationships with REO agents, so they send you the pocket listings, quote unquote, or whatever.
Right.
What do you think?
Okay. Here's what we do here. We do have access to MLS, and so I use it, and Francis, Tim's wife, is a realtor.
Okay.
So we have access that way. That basically that's internal access. Does that make sense? So that's something in Houston we don't share with all the other apprentice students.
I understand.
Now we do have access to Dallas and San Antonio that we share with all of the apprentice students. But those, because Francis is on the horn here, we don't share that with everybody. So
Okay.
having said that, I don't mind running anybody's search for them, but I try to get everybody that's in that we teach privately to go in and build a relationship with a realtor. And the realtors don't mind doing those searches. Now, what are the searches we're looking for? Okay, you guys all write this down. This is a good lesson that we can do. Okay, we'll run an MLS search for all of the cash sales in the last 30 days. Now, from that, narrow that down to where the most of those sales are in what zip code. From that, narrow that zip code down into the specific neighborhoods or subdivisions that most of these houses are sold. Okay, now look at that, and we'll do this in depth next week if you guys want to do that. And but look at that and figure out then, where did most of these cash sales, what's the price point, what's the price break in these? So when I did this for the apprentice students, there were 1,200 houses in the last 90 days that sold for cash. Out of those 1,200, 800 of them were from 100,000 and below, which tells you then, if you're going to be trying to find cash buyers, you should not be too far above 100,000. Out of the 800 that were 100,000 and below, like 600 of those 800 were 75,000 and below. Okay, and out of those 600, there were 2 specific zip codes that were dominating the other areas, and that's Katy 77449 and Spring 77373. Okay, now you saw on the deal that we did this weekend, on the sales we did this weekend, we're concentrating on Katy and Spring. Why? Because that's where most of the foreclosures are. So there's more people there being foreclosed on than there are in any of the other any other zip codes in the city in the county of Harris County. Okay, you understand how I got to all that?
Mm-hmm. You did the county search. You started with the county.
Started with county. Let's do cash sales in the last 90 days. And we did 30 days this weekend just to narrow it down a little better. Okay, so now we've got 90 days. Now let's narrow that down into zip codes, narrow that down into specific areas, subdivisions, neighborhoods, whatever. Now out of that, then there became 3 or 4 specific we call them subdivisions here in Texas, the neighborhoods that had the most cash sales in them. And they're right around the corner from me, maybe 2 or 3 miles from me. So I live in 77373. So I know these areas, and I know that they're $190,000 to $120,000 houses. So if you know those areas, then you're looking for houses that are about half value. And you start looking at the cash sales, and all of them are between, $35,000 to $50,000. So all of them are below half value or at half value. And so I just drove through those particular areas. We were driving through there looking for buyers. Now think of that. We were looking for people who bought a house cash in the last 30 days. That's what we did this weekend. And Tim says these guys are in heat. They want to buy another one. They just bought one. They had that thrill, that rush of buying a house, and that excitement. They want to do that again. And so we were looking for people that had closed a house basically in the last 10 days to 3 weeks. Okay, so we could do some wholesale deals with them. But that's how we were finding buyers. Now, as I drove through the subdivision or the neighborhood, I told you that too. I wrote down 30 some odd for sale by owner, for rent, and for lease. And all of those turned into deals, some kind of a deal. I'll do owner financing. There's all kind of things we were doing.
You just brought them back to the office and called them all up.
Yep. I mean, I was the bird dog on them. It's a new technique we were trying, so I'll go try it. It's right around the corner, Tim. And my day doesn't start really pretty heavy until about noon. So I got up at 7 and just drove for an hour or so. I did it every day for about 3 days and came up with a lot of leads, and they all turned into something pretty cool. So that's 2 or 3 lessons right there in that one little deal.
I have just one final question. This has to do with short sales.
Yep.
I've kind of I've been listening to you here, and I've heard you before on other calls. you know, kind of profess the benefits of short sales. And, you know, I've subscribed to or kind of been led down the path of avoiding short sales because of the amount of time, effort, and energy involved to get them done. And I heard you mention the name Corey Boatwright.
Right?
So maybe you could just share with me a little bit more on your short sale technique and what you're doing with those.
Okay, I'll show you something that nobody's ever seen. You got to whisper. It's just so new. It's SBS. Okay, let's go to. Let me see what you guys are seeing. This, by the way, all of our properties on a thing called Big Daddy House Deals. Can you see this map yet? Can you see a map yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Gosh, my computer's so slow. Yeah, let me get to my email. This is what happened to me on the weekend. Okay, not to me. Let me pull this up. Let her come in. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm running an email search for this girl. You're still looking at these pictures, aren't you?
Still see your picture, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. I still have to sign in
There you go. Now the map is up.
Okay, that's a map of all of our houses we have here in Houston. Let me get to this other search. Basically, do you see this Donna Garcia? I see this on my email. Not there yet.
Yeah, I see it. Donna Garcia.
Right. So these are basically, this is a girl in San Antonio, and we did a short sale together, and it paid off about a week and a half ago. And she said, great, I've got some more, I'll send you. So over the weekend, she sent me, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She sent me 7 short sales, 8 short sales over the weekend. Now, how much effort was that for me?
Not much at all.
That's zero. That's zero effort for me. I mean, I didn't do anything. I worked a short sale for us back in May or so, and it finally closed, you know, one of those things, you know, that just took forever to close. And she sent me 8 over the weekend. So now, how come I'm all high on short sales?
She's a realtor?
She is an investor / realtor in San Antonio.
Okay.
They have 30 short sales, and they like working them themselves. They like messing with them.
Okay.
Okay, I hate it. I mean, I'm not going to be calling a bank, and I used to do 14 or 15 short sales a month where I was working the short sales.
Right.
And, you know, Tim was calling me names about how can you be so foolish, and, you know,
Right.
it takes too much time and all that. It's like, yeah, you're right. So now we work with Corey Boatwright, and the apprentice group, we pay him a monthly fee, basically so that we don't have to pay him up front, but we pay him a fee. You know what I'm saying. We pay him the money anyway.
Okay.
Bottom line is, Corey works them all.
So you get a lead, right? This realtor investor sends you a lead, XY, you know, 123 Main Street, and
Right.
property's worth $150,000, but it's got debt on of $250. And we're trying to get the bank now to accept, and it's in bad shape. It's beat up. So now we're trying to get the bank to accept a $100,000, $75,000 purchase price.
Okay.
And we've got to demonstrate to that lender that there's a hardship and all of the documentation and paperwork that goes along with, you know, proving the short sale out so they can get their board and, you know, whoever else they need to approve it.
Okay.
You're simply taking the lead, which is a house that is the houses are currently for sale. They're on the market.
Okay. Let's go back a little ways because I'll
Okay.
answer your question.
Okay.
That's the way I used to do them.
Okay.
Here's how I do them now. If you'll send me the complete packet, I'll work the short sale and we'll split them. How's that? So they send me the packet. It has to be in order, and there's days that I put it back in order if it's not in order. But they usually send me the entire packet. I download it on my computer. I'll either print it or send it straight over to Corey, and we'll do a little bit of research, maybe 10 minutes worth of research on it, and I'll come up with a price. Okay, now do you know our formula? Have we told you this yet? Have you been here for this?
I don't think so.
Okay, you ready? Write this down. Let's
Got my pen.
use 100. Use 100,000, guys. It's just because I was a music major in college, so not a math major. So, $100,000 house times 0.6. So MV for us for the apprentice group is called market value. Let's say its market value is 100. times 0.6. Okay, that's 60,000. Minus 6%. Well, what's the 6% for?
Realtor fee.
Right, minus realtor fee. So if we're at 60,000, that's $3,600. So now we're at what? 56,400, something like that. And every house, I think, needs to be painted and new carpet. So that's at least $5,000 plus whatever else is wrong with it. So I always take, let's say I take $5,000 off of that. So I'm at $51,400. And then I have minus the GF, we call this in the apprentice group, the gut feel. Yes, then the person who sent me the lead says yes, but it's next door to a cemetery that's right next door to a sewage treatment plant. Oh, okay, well let's take off another 5,000 or 6,000. Or this house is immaculately perfect. It's a great house. Somebody move right in, and I do a lot of those. Okay, so at 51.6 isn't going to fly. I'll move it up to 54.2. And then just to, excuse my language, but just to piss off the bank, I always make it like $56,244 or $268.24.
That's good.
Just because I'm that way. Okay, now that's the formula. That's the formula that we use, and that's low enough to not get it, to not get the bid the first time out.
And this is short sales.
Short sale. Okay, that's low enough that the bank is not going to write me back and say you've got it.
Mm-hmm.
It's high enough that if they're about to go into foreclosure, it'll postpone that foreclosure for at least a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can negotiate after that.
You started by saying, if you send me the complete packet, to whom are you saying if you send me? You're obviously me. Who is the you?
Me would be me. So I have, let's see, over the weekend I got those 8, plus I got 3 from Alabama and Georgia, and I got another 2, I think. I was trying to think, I got 1 for lottery, so I've got another one from California. So I got, what was it, 8, 9, 10, 11, I have 13 this weekend. Okay?
And those are coming to you from, like you said, an investor who's already assembled the packet, or a realtor who's already put the packet together, that sort of thing?
Or a bird dog, or any of that. How do you find a bird dog? How do you find a realtor? Where do you live?
In South Florida, Boca Raton.
Okay, so let's say that you're in South Florida. How would you find a realtor in Atlanta?
I would go to Craigslist and post an ad for a realtor.
Okay, go to Craigslist.
Or I'd go to the realtor.com and look for somebody.
There you go. Go realtor.com. Open the Yellow Pages.
Right.
Go to the MLS in Atlanta and look for anybody that's doing short sales.
Okay.
We did that here. We looked for any realtor that had done a short sale in a year. There's 1,500 of them.
Mm-hmm.
1,500 different realtors. And so we've had our people just calling those realtors, saying, "Have you done short sales?" "Yes, we've done short sales." "Do you like them?" "I hate them." "Well, if you'll partner up with them, I'll have you list the house every time, and I'll buy it every single time. I'll buy it." So that's what we do with realtors. They want their commission. I'll give them their commission. I'll give them their commission twice on the A to B closing and the B to C closing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if it's an investor, then we decide a percentage. It's easier for me just to say I'll half it with you, and that's what we do a lot of. So let's say that you put together the short sale in Boca Raton, and you send it over to me, and I would submit it to Corey, and then if it's accepted and it sells and everything that happens, then we just split it. It's real simple. That's how I like doing them. But other people like doing them. I'll give you $1,000, or I'll give you 25% or 33%. I'm not greedy. We'll just split it. We did the work to get it. I'll do the work to negotiate it, and then we're done. It's just simple. So that's how I do them, and they're really, really, really easy.
Wow. That sounds.
They take a while. My quickest is 62 days.
Okay.
My longest is about 8 months and 8 months and a couple of weeks.
Are you experiencing? I mean, I know that there's been, and I haven't been able to get a firm answer on it, whether or not the title companies and the banks are limiting the amount of profit on a short sale?
Yes,
Meaning on an A to B and a B to C on a simultaneous close?
absolutely.
Okay.
Let's say it's a $100,000 house, and I close it, and let's say we make $20,000. Okay, now is that an unreasonable profit on that house?
I don't think so, but I'm an investor.
Right. Most lenders are okay with that.
Right. I think when it exceeds 25.
Right. When I get up to being about 25 to 50%, then it's a problem. So let's say it's the same $100,000 house, and I made 50 grand on it. That lender's not going to let me do that. The title company's going to freak out about it.
Right.
So there's no need getting greedy over all that. Let's just make 20 every time. I close as many as I can close, even if I make zero. I try to close them because I want the realtor to get paid, and I want the closer to get paid, and the title company gets paid, and the guy that went out and did the survey gets paid. I mean, there's a lot of filter down, on all this, of all these people that need a job, everybody gets paid. So even if I make zero, I'm going to close the house because eventually I'm going to need a surveyor or an appraiser, and they know I close all these deals.
So again, just to kind of recap it, I understand the formula. I'm going to call realtors in my area, and I know plenty of them that are doing short sales. None of them really love to do it, but I'll say, look, we'll do this together.
Right.
You bring me you've already put the other package. I'll come up with the price, and we'll work on negotiating with the bank together, and that's kind of just how it goes.
The first couple with realtors here locally, I went with them.
Okay.
Because Corey's paperwork is a little different than the regular paperwork, and the question is, do I have to use Corey's option contract? The answer is no. The question is, do you have to do it through Corey? No, you can work it if you want to. It just saves me $600. That's what I pay to get them done. And when I say it's okay, when I agree to it.
Yeah, but I personally would rather. I mean, it's about volume. So if I found a deal, and a deal's a deal, and I just said, look, I'll get the realtor paid, and I'll send it over to Corey, for example. I mean, I'll do a little research on who they are and go check them out, and look to create a relationship there. It's the kind of thing where I just pull it in and send it over to them and let them kind of track it and manage it and negotiate it, and that's it. Call me and tell me when the deal's been accepted and when it's ready to close.
Absolutely. And that's the way Corey Boatwright runs his ship, and it's really a great operation.
Okay.
What he does is I got 3 or 4 emails today saying the property's been submitted. This property is with the BPO. This property has been submitted, has been approved, and has been submitted to the investor at the lending institution. So it's almost finished. She keeps Erica's my closer or my negotiator. She keeps me really up on what all my properties are doing. Now let's go back to the realtor. I'm not going to argue with the realtor, okay? Because my mom was a realtor, and she had her own office and was president of MLS and all that kind of stuff. And she's hard-headed. I mean, she was really hard-headed. And most realtors are like my mother. I'm not trying to say anything bad. They want to do it this way because it works, and I want to do it my way because I know it works. But on these short sales, I've got a realtor who likes working them. And she says, I'm going to work them from now on. I'm going to work them. And I say, fine, you go work them. That's just your Friday mornings are going to be spent talking to the lender. My Friday mornings will be out playing golf, or I have Harleys. I'll be out riding Harleys or whatever I'm doing. It depends on how you want to use your time. And so she likes working them. I don't argue with her. And then she finally came back about 3 weeks ago and said, listen, on the next one, why don't you guys work that one? Is that okay? It's like, yeah, of course it's okay. I've been on you for about 3 months to get us to work those. They're way easier.
So again, in that case, she's just looking to make her commission. You're going to farm it to Corey Boatwright's crew, pay him his $600 or whatever it is on a per transaction basis, and everybody gets taken care of, and it all gets handled, and you're riding your Harley.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So think of that. I spent some time today and yesterday because all these were coming in, and I did that seminar over the weekend. I usually take care of them every day because I don't want to get behind and I forget somebody. But usually by now these would all be submitted, and I'd be working about 3 or 4 hours a day on these things.
Because there are endless short sale opportunities here in South Florida. I mean, we have, our market values have bottomed out, and we got everybody under the sun upside down.
Right. So think of this: we've got a student in Tampa, and I've got one in Miami, and what they're saying is that the REOs, the lenders, the banks, have kind of holding back on those REOs. They're not letting them out quite as quickly.
That's right.
In fact, in Tampa, he said they were talking about a moratorium, a 90-day moratorium to let some of this inventory clear out.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay. Now what? Now what do you do? I mean, if you're an REO guy, you're out of business. No.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an REO guy, then you need to be doing short sales, because those houses because they're stopping over there, it means something else is opening up on the other side of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
There's another window of opportunity opening up somewhere else. And so if they're not doing REOs, then go to short sales. It's the same thing, just different.
Right.
Okay? I mean, that's what we told him, and all of a sudden he's like doing short sales all over the place.
Okay.
It's like, well, it's not any different than REO. It's going to take you a little longer, but that's okay. And he pops out a few owner financing just to keep the lights on, and then these short sales will start popping, and he'll be fine.
All right, sir. Very, very good. I really appreciate your time and going through all these questions with me.
Surely, anytime, man. Glad you're here.
Yep, I appreciate it. Keep it up.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Take care.
All right, bye.
Okay. Julio, I've not talked to you in forever. Let's go there. Hey, Gershom, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, how are you doing?
Good.
I didn't talk to you in a long time. Let's see. Julio's on there, and we got a bunch of questions. Let's just go real fast down some of these, okay? Let's unmute them and go real fast.
Sure.
So I'm on Julio Zanoni.
Okay.
Hey, man, what are you doing? Julio, you doing all right? Okay, let's go on to Byron Watts. Hey, Byron, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Okay, now let's fix that. You're doing terrific.
I'd love to. Let's go for it. I'm focusing on short sales, and in my market, I'm not getting BPO numbers that make sense. How are you getting the spread that you need?
Okay, where's your market?
Minnesota.
Minnesota, okay, yeah.
Rochester, Mayo Clinic country.
I remember that. Yeah, see what's happening there. That's a really strong market right now.
Yes.
And we've done a couple of things. Are you meeting the BPO on every house?
Everyone that I can. A couple of them snuck in without me.
Okay, and are you bringing your own comps and everything with you?
Yes.
Okay, are you bringing really low comps with you?
Yes.
And are you giving them to them? Huh?
Absolutely. They didn't accept my low comp. They took them, but they didn't use them.
Okay. Do you have a realtor on any of these houses?
Yes.
Is your realtor coming with you, or are you doing it?
On that one, I did it. Or that one in particular, I did it.
Here's what we've done. Most of these BPOs are either appraisers that are, I don't want to say out of work, but let's go backwards. The BPOs that they're doing here, they're giving them around $100 per BPO. Okay? And so there's really no money in it for these guys. So it's kind of like a second income, but their appraisal business or their real estate business isn't going like they want it to, so they're doing more and more of these. I had a BPO the other day, Byron. He said he had to go back out because the bank didn't like his numbers. And so he called me and said, "What are your numbers?" And I told him my numbers, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to go back out, and my numbers will be your exact numbers." Because he's mad at the bank. See, he's going to have to go back again for $100, and he's not going to make any. He's losing money on it that way.
Right.
So first off, everything you're doing, all of you guys, everything you're doing, it's a relationship business, number one. And more often than not, the BPO is either a realtor or an appraiser. More often than not, it's usually a realtor. That's the reason I like my realtor to meet them, because they have something in common already, and they can kind of talk the same language. Okay? So we take and I take, comps are comps, and I take all the comps. And I'll highlight some that I think are low and fair. I don't usually take the top ones, but the ones that are regular comps, I take those too. all right? And more times than not, when the realtor gives them to them, what they would do is say, listen, I've run some comps. I know you're real busy. I've run you some comps on this house, and I've done a repair sheet. So, if you'd like to use it, here it is. If you don't, it's okay too. And more often than not, think about this. If you're getting paid $75 to $100, and it's going to take you 2 hours to do this, what would you do? You're sitting there going, man, I'm going to use these comps right here. They're already done for me. Right. So that's the first thing. They need to understand, and I always take the hardship letter with them. They need to understand what their hardship was so that they understand that these were real people that lived here and had a real problem. And we've been doing better once we've been doing that. The BPO is kind of a tough nut to crack, but you're in a market that's still growing, and we have a girl in Minneapolis that's doing the same thing, and she's doing pretty well with the short sales that are outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul, not as well as the ones that's kind of out in the country. And she's done a couple of things from that. So let's think of this. Let's open your mind. I know you want to do Rochester, but do some in Rochester and do some in Chicago. How far away is Chicago?
I'm working on that right now. I'm actually going to South Carolina for some stuff.
Right. So you got to open your mind up and go, okay, well, if Rochester during this period of time may be a little tough, then go to Madison. There's got to be short sales in Madison, Wisconsin. I've got a student that lives in Cedar Rapids, so there's not a whole lot going on in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So he's working all over the place and then doing okay. So that's what I would do is I would have your realtor meet the BPO. I would have them have the comps in their hand, have your realtor have the comps in their hand already. It'd be good to have pictures in your hand already, have the entire BPO packet done, and just hand it to him. And then he'll use whatever he wants to use out of your packet. Okay? And then see, just kind of keep track of the trend. One or two houses, that's not a trend, but if it starts to be 10 or 15 and it's like, ooh, this isn't going so good, then you want to start looking in Indianapolis. Kansas City's real good. St. Louis is real good right now. Texas is unbelievable. It's just these houses are going real well. Right. But you got all there's 38 apprentice students now. They're all working in Texas, so they're all stomping each other, it looks like. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Sure. Okay. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Byron. Okay, Gershom, who's next?
We have Judith. You wanna talk to Judith?
I know Judith. Come on, Judith. Let's go.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, how are you doing?
Well, I just had a question. Let's see, when you
Is it getting cold? Is it getting cold in Boston yet?
it's pretty nice up here, actually.
Oh, no, my son had a cold the other day. I was going to have him come by and have some chicken soup. Is that okay?
I just wanted to check, when you were talking to, I think he was the first person that you took questions with, and he was saying if he's cash strapped right now, and you said that he should still take all the short sales that he comes across, and yet if we need to pay about $500 or so to Corey, and I thought that you also had said that if something happens that the sale doesn't go through, then we need to pay the $500 rather than it's coming out from the sale price, and so we might potentially have to pay $500 per short sale that doesn't go through. So if the risk is that high, if for people who are cash strapped, such as that first caller, why were you encouraging him to take all the short sales that crossed his path?
Okay, so if you're going to Corey and you say, listen, the bank wants 100 and you're at 50, and the bank comes back and says, I will take 75,000, and if you don't want to go up to 75,000, you say no.
Yes.
Okay? And if you say no, then there's no charge on that at all.
Okay.
The only time they will charge my credit card is when I say, yes, I will take it. and then they'll charge that $5.95 to me.
And okay.
So let's think of this: if you didn't have $595 room on your card, or if you're a little bit cash strapped, and this is how we do so many of them. Hey Judith, you've got a pretty good feedback. Can I go ahead and mute you?
Oh yes.
Okay, are you going to be on the call tomorrow night?
I guess I didn't know there was a call, but I can be on the call tomorrow night.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to try to sell those houses in Houston. Whatever. We'd love to see you. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
I'll
you.
mute you now. Gershom, you want to mute her, please?
Okay.
Okay, guys, let's figure this out. If you don't have the cash to pay Corey, then find somebody that will do that short sale for you and split the deal with you. Okay, and that's how I end up doing quite a few of those. So let's say for grins that I'm an investor, I want to do short sales, but I don't want the risk of having to buy a house, and B, I don't want to have to put any money out at all. I don't want to do any of that. Okay, all I want to do is just collect the money when it's over. Then all you would do then is email me, and then we'll start talking, and we'll figure out how to do those together. But I JV is joint venture on a lot of these deals. And so I may have 13 in my inbox, but I'm only making half of the 13. Everybody understand that? So if you don't have the money to do those, then either I can do them, or there's guys on this line, there's students on the call tonight, or there's students in the apprentice group. I mean, Fiona will do them all, you know. So you can joint venture with a lot of other people, a lot of other investors. And the good part about this is you know a bunch of these people, you know, that, so it's not like going out to a total stranger and trying to work a deal with them. So that's the way you get past the cash part of that. Just find somebody to JV with you. Okay, let's see. Kevin's asking about who meets the homeowner and gets their docs and everything else. For me, it's the realtor or the investor that's sending them to me. Back a year or so ago, it was me. I went out every night and did it. Okay, somebody's got to walk the homeowner through those. I've got a bird dog who emails everything to them, and then they email everything back or fax everything back, one or the other. So that works really well for her. She just the documents are self-explanatory, and it works just fine. On the local short sales, I like going out and meeting the people and seeing the house, and I could kind of kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone. But I've got some bird dogs who say, send me the short sale packet plus some pictures, and then off we run. The thing that makes that kind of tricky is repairs, and I usually look at the house and talk to the investor that's got them and talk about repairs, and then I'm never shy about adding money to my repair list. Okay, I'm really generous on repairs when I don't know what the repairs are. Okay, so I don't want to get bitten, so I have a lot of miscellaneous money in there. Okay. Okay. What's the fastest way to sell my out-of-state house or lease is already expired? Let's get. Oops, I just hit the wrong button there. Who was that? Jan, you wanna go ahead and unmute Jan, please?
Okay.
We won't be a whole lot longer. What time are you supposed to go home?
Like an hour ago. That's okay.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Okay, we'll hurry
That's
up.
fine.
We'll hurry up.
That's fine. Yan is on the line now.
Okay, hey,
Yan?
man, what's going on? Yan, how are you?
I think she doesn't have a microphone. I don't know.
Okay, the question is, what's the fastest way to sell my out-of-state house? Our lease has already expired. We are on month-to-month rent right now. It's very difficult to rent a house during the winter. How can I sell it without leaving the place vacant? A couple of ways, and I think owner financing is the best way right now until the world kind of changes. I would find someone who could give you a little bit of money down and do some owner financing, maybe a wraparound mortgage or something like that would be the easiest way. So why don't you email me and we'll talk about that and figure that out. Let me stick my email address on there again. Oops. Okay, go on to the next one, okay? Gershom, when I'm typing.
Okay. Actually, I don't know. I think that's our last question we have, Stan.
Hey, last question is perfect. Hey, it turned out good. So, good. So I think we're all in good shape. So, guys, if you've got any questions, there's my email address. You guys just hop on, and I'll be glad to answer anything for you. And we'll be all good, okay? So, Gershom, I appreciate it very much. Go home, have fun. And, somebody was watching basketball. Who was asking me about a basketball game over there today? Who did that? Was that Joan was asking me, talking about basketball? Are you guys playing basketball right now?
No, no. Yeah, I think Joan.
Okay.
Yeah, she loves
Well,
to
go
talk
have
about
fun.
sports. Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
All right, have fun, guys, and we'll see you on the call next week. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you. Bye-bye.